Hello, I'm Jia Roca, and this is my creative critical reflection. So, first of all, uh, let's answer the first question. How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? So, since I chose media, I had in mind of creating a project with which any mind could like think about it, and um, from the beginning, I wanted to include like very anti-stereotypical things, which you wouldn't ever see in any film. And I wanted to change like roles and yeah, basically social roles. So throughout the making of the film, I had many issues about what to create or what to do. Like when you start from nothing, you don't know what to do, and like it's very stressing and anxious because you don't know what to do, you don't know what to create. You have like many genres about that you can create your film in, like for example action, thriller, horror, and you just don't know what to do, you're new, and that what happened to me. So my initial idea was to create a horror genre film. I wanted to create suspense and make the audience feel like every piece of anxiety I wanted to recreate. Uh, so after thinking about it and creating many ideas and researching any elements I could use in the film, like some issues appeared. My main fear was to don't be able. So my main fear in the idea of creating a horror film was to not know how to create that kind of fear in the audience. Uh, when when you see like a very professional horror film, like you get for sure that you will feel that intentions the author or the company wants you to feel, but like I didn't want it to create a horror film and the audience to see it as a cheap horror film. So after thinking about it and creating many ideas, so I didn't want the audience to feel cheated or pranked on, and I didn't want it to look like a cheap horror movie. So after analyzing the pros and cons, I decided to change my genre to romance. So romance was not so difficult to recreate, and its conventions were like very different to the horror ones. I only had to recreate a bond between two characters, and as I mentioned before, I wanted to create a very anti-stereotypical film. So, what do I mean by that? Well, I had many ideas, such as not including a heterosexual couple, like doing a homosexual couple, but I think I'm not so prepared to do it. Like, I wouldn't be able to not do a childish looking film. So I finally did only a character's introduction. I had in mind to create a two characters introduction, a, a man and a woman, but I realized I didn't have like time to include them. So from the start of the film, I decided to film a drone, the city of Colmenar Viejo, to create a sense of rural city. So filming in Madrid may have led to many consequences, and yes, and it would have been much more difficult because of the local restrictions and the COVID restrictions. So filming in Colmenar has been much easier than I thought it would be. because there was like there were no issues. Like it's not like if we compare Colmenar to Madrid, it's not the same. Like Madrid has more skyscrapers, has like much more police, much more security, and has much more people which can like see a drone flying. So later on in the movie, I have been recreating like specific shots in three different locations because the mise en scène wasn't quite the scene I was looking for. For example, the bathroom shot in my movie, at the first location, it was like kind of uh, a very yellowish looking background, and I didn't want like the film to get that because in the rest of the house it was like a normal color palette, but I didn't know why in that bathroom, in that specific bathroom, it was like a yellow filter added on, which I didn't know what happened there. So finally, coronavirus happened. This year, the year 12 students in 2021, actually, 2020 and 2021, who have been passing through COVID, and it's a issue because we didn't have so much opportunities than the rest of the students, and I couldn't film as much as I wanted to. I couldn't finish the movie completely because of COVID, and I'm ashamed because I had so many ideas to add on and to film. So I will say my main problem was COVID and the local restrictions the government added. To end up, I decided to call the film Shredded Future because I chose a name because at the end of the 2 minute film, I would have added a shot of the second character, like putting the scholarship into a shredder, uh, and it was supposed like I was supposed to add it, but I couldn't film it because of COVID. The second question is, how does your product engage with audiences, and how will it be distributed as a real media text? So recently I have created a Instagram account in which I have been posting and uploading every single change which my film has gone through. I also created a YouTube account and in which surprisingly I have been getting followers out of nowhere. Like I know, and I have never created any of these YouTube and Instagram accounts. So for the first time, it was like a shock to like don't. Well, I have been creating like my Instagram account, my personal one, but for these kind of things I've never done. So I have also created many posters in which I have added the name of the film, Shredded Future, and I have been posting them through the school or giving them to people. So to engage with the audience, I researched about romance genre film and about what types of romantic conventions my production will need to add. After researching, I came to the conclusion that the majority of the audience will be the female genre. So after all of these conclusions, I decided to include what most of the female genre wants in these types of films. They, when researching, I came to the conclusion that the females, the girls want a masculine and feminine sensibilities. Like they want the masculine and feminine genre, uh, yes, to show their sensibilities, to show their weak part of themselves, and they want conflicts as they can be internal or external in the relationship. So by adding conflicts you see how the how the how that relationship like breaks apart, and you know it will add up, like end up together. So yes. Question 3: how did your product how did your production skills develop throughout this project? So throughout this project, I have developed many skills and creative ideas which I never thought about I could ever create. Throughout the making of this project, I have been using many different skills in different aspects. For example, I learned to film and to interpret different scenes in different types of shots and also with different types of cameras. The use of mobile phones have helped me because we the like the mobile phones are a thing we all have in our pocket and ready to use. I have also learned how to use a professional camera and to understand its buttons. So the mobile phones are a thing we all have in our pockets, and they usually have a good quality camera, not as much as a professional camera, like a specific camera which is made out just to film. Mm, and I also have been using a professional camera to film most of the scenes. The fact of using a professional camera without any internet or browser makes you as a person need to develop skills such as knowledge of how to manage that specific camera. Uh, so to finish with cameras, I have been using a drone for the start of the film, in which I have been filming at a height of 80 meters above the ground. So handling a drone requires skill, and even more when using its camera and actually filming in real time. So to edit and add up all the parts also requires like some PC skills. And to edit, I have been using Sony Vegas Pro, and it also took me time to learn how to edit it and how to use Sony Vegas. So in conclusion, it took me a long time to learn all of these skills, and I don't regret learning them, sincerely. And finally, question 4: how did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? So to begin with, I have been using many texts to create and advertise the film. It all started on thinking about what technology slash type of camera I could use to give a different impact of the result of the film. So using a professional camera and the camera of a mobile phone might be a good idea to use, but I needed something more special to add up. Then came to my mind that I could use a drone, but I needed to think of a creative shot to include the drone's perspective. So lately, after thinking about many ideas, I came to a conclusion of using it for filming a static 10-second shot of Colmenar Viejo, of a rural city. So about the media technology, I have created two accounts, one for Instagram and the other one for YouTube. And I have been using these two accounts to advertise most of the film and giving the audience many hints about what was going to happen. Conclusion: throughout this project, I have so much fun creating and getting inspired from my friends and the media. I have also learned many interesting skills, such as the understanding of how a pro camera works and editing skills. And I have put in practice many aspects which I have studied this semester. So I'm very thankful of everything which has happened to me. Not about the coronavirus because I couldn't finish my film, but yes, it all has been a very creative and happy travel, I can say. I don't know. Thank you. Bye.